How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman. Thanks for joining me. And this particular broadcast is a little bit different than the ones I usually do. I'm actually going to read a post that I received from a gentleman that I've never met. His name is Peter Kinev. I may have pronounced the last name wrong. I apologize, Peter. It's Kinev. And it had a catchy clickbait title to it, I must admit. And the title was Enterprise Architecture's Gobbledygook. I think most of you know what the phrase gobbledygook means. And the second line, it says, how did we get here and what can we do about it? So Peter goes on to say, somehow over time, enterprise architecture and broader corporate culture has developed a language of its own, a language that seems more designed to deflect rather than to inform. A language where it's safer to sound smart than to be clear. I used to think it was just me. Maybe I wasn't asking the right questions. But with time, I've realized this behavior is common, especially at higher levels. And ironically, those who excel at this kind of strategic vagueness often get rewarded for it. But here is the real problem. It discourages meaningful dialogue, it punishes curiosity, and it prevents the kind of transparency and alignment that EA is supposed to enable. So here's the call to action. Let's stop confusing complexity with credibility. Let's reward clarity, not camouflage. Let's empower those who ask hard questions instead of sidelighting them. Let's bring enterprise architecture back to what it should be, a bridge between strategy and execution and not a smokescreen. So the question is, how did we get here? And more importantly, what are we going to do about it? So I think it's time we change the narrative. Thank you for Peter for that wonderful post. A couple of comments here, of course, and that's why I'm bringing this to you. Human consumability, ladies and gentlemen. You have been listening to me, I hope, for quite some time, years if not decades, in these broadcasts. Why are we still forgetting about human consumability? Enterprise architecture is geared toward the stakeholders. For those of you that have certifications and training that says EA is about IT implementation, that's not what it's about, and that's really possibly what Peter is seeing. He's seeing not only an issue with things that he's mentioned about gobbledygook, but the gobbledygook is being reinforced by some certifications and training programs because people want to be, quote, special. They want to be special, and I understand that. But we need to be understood. Enterprise architecture is the enabler of business strategy, which means that the people in the business need to understand what we as EA is talking about. And if that's not happening, it's our problem, as Peter says. It's not their problem. So maybe, once again, people don't do this. The root cause of this is the training and certification programs that enterprise architects are being subjected to because of multiple I'm getting excited here. Multiple guess exam approaches to EA, which has nothing to do with actually doing EA. So the root cause, which I've talked to you about before, is the training programs that are training EAs in gobbledygook. And what's even worse, they're not actually training people to do enterprise architecture. They've just trained people to pass multiple guess exams. So it's not only time to change the narrative, but it's time to get real about enterprise architecture. So, ladies and gentlemen, enterprise architecture, the enabler of business strategy through human consumable understandings. If that's not what you're doing as an EA, I think you see what Peter's talking about. Please join me. I think it'll be helpful.
So you want to advance your career and see enterprise business architecture certification class? So you want to overwhelmed? So you want to advance your career and see enterprise architecture as a key component to this advancement? Or you're an enterprise architect and you want to be more effective in addressing business and technology needs? You want to create highly effective solutions that deal with the ever-evolving changes in businesses and organizations. But accumulating the knowledge and certification to do that can be a challenge. That's why EACOE created a one-of-a-kind certification workshop for enterprise architects. The workshops will teach you proven step-by-step enterprise architecture techniques that you can use for addressing continuous business and organizational change and give you the certification you need to progress in your career. Want to learn more? Then visit EACOE.org.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.